Season 1, episode. This is episode 5, I believe. Rich, episode 5.
I believe so. Yeah.
What's done in darkness will come to light. We will be getting that in the next couple minutes. You guys know how we do. This is the White Devils podcast. I am Rob Villain. On the screen next to me is Rich Herman.
Whoop,
How you
whoop.
doing there?
Fucking awesome.
Well, as you see, this week's show is a little different than previous weeks as we are not in the same location. Rich is at home doing the show remotely because he had a COVID exposure here at Villain Radio. So
Motherfuckers.
until we get some test results back, Rich is working remotely, and I'm taking the chances of dying for you guys.
You do look a little
Anyway,
pale, bro.
it's my
You get this
forehead.
vampire thing going on.
Yeah. Um, oh, what's going on?
I'm just laughing at you.
Uh,
Um,
the second computer monitor is acting all weird, so it's having internet problems. So I automatically thought that maybe I was having internet problems over here on this computer, but I'm not. So it's good. Anyway, welcome to White Devils Podcast. We are back for another week of telling you guys stuff you probably don't care about, but you should. And
you should. That's
yeah,
facts.
you really should. Rich, what are we? What do we have this week for these guys?
Man, we got all kinds of fun stuff. We got some updates on the stimulus, um, early voting updates, some updates on the different legal cases going on in these different states regarding voting. A little bit of Hunter Biden. You're getting us on some Hunter Biden. It's Fair Tax Act Day, Illinois. My hands all in your face. My bad. I'm trying to chill out. I get all excited. I broke down the Fair Tax Act. I'm gonna tell you what you need to know, and probably a couple rants and raves mixed in there as well.
Um, Last week we started doing something that um we're not going to jump right into everything. We jump into everything, and then people will come in a little bit late, and they won't know what we're talking about. So we started this little breakdown of what we're going to get into before we actually get into it. And this week, just like last week, we got a special guest who was a great guest last week, and should be a great guest this week if we could get the dogs under control. But let me bring in. Or do you got a dog, Rich?
Is that yeah? You can hear
Oh,
that
okay.
shit.
I was like, okay,
Yeah.
because Eddie's not in, so I was like, his mic shouldn't be working. But we're gonna bring Eddie in. Eddie, fuck the world, as I like to
What's
call him.
up,
Yo.
Welcome back to the
Eddie?
White Devils, the White Devils, and Mexican Saint. That's
Yeah, yeah.
You're always trying to assign another race with the White Devils, bro. Like
Well,
this
I was
shit.
gonna say he's
it, it, it,
losing his.
it's all
His
about the name to get the interest in the show. Like Rich didn't even want to call it White Devils, but
Nah, I wanted to call it like some fucking lame ass shit, but it was
like
serious.
Il Brown was like, it's provocative.
It was.
well, you see, Rob has been quarantined, as he mentioned earlier, and so he hasn't been in the gates of hell with the beautiful glow that all of the UV radiation and vitamin D gives him. So that's why he's looking so light skinned today.
Well, I also have two bright ass lights shining out of
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
I thought he went. He dressed up his interview for with a vampire for Halloween.
I remember one of my favorite tweets from 2016 was somebody mentioned that uh, the Trump family looked like they would be the people in a Blade like movie, like when he's like in the dance clubs, like the European techno dance clubs, like going to kill vampires, and they're just like in the back selling ecstasy or whatever. And
Donald Trump, he
that's
definitely
exactly
sold some
what they
heat,
look
man.
like. That's exactly what
uh,
Donald and Eric Trump look like.
I'm
Tonight,
totally content believing that Donald Trump Jr. has sold ecstasy before. That just
oh,
makes so much sense to me.
I mean, he looks like the type of person that would sell ecstasy in college or some shit.
Oh,
But
for sure.
tonight we have the call in line situated. It is 219-702-6028. Um, I want to put it on a scroller on the bottom, but it turns it into a hyperlink, and you can't really see the number. Um, I'm gonna try to format it different. But that is the number again is 219 702-6028. You're a Trump supporter, if you're a Biden supporter, if you don't give a fuck about politics, call in, see what you got to say. If you got
I,
something to
I've invited several people, man. We'll see. I know my one buddy was definitely calling in, but he's working, so he's kind of asked out on that. But
what time is it?
you know, I don't,
Late?
yeah, I think he works through our whole show. But
Oh.
you know, we'll see. You never know. You never know who might pop up, and but definitely whoever, man, call in, jump J down.
I don't think Rudy Giuliani will be taking our invite.
Oh,
Rudy, come on.
hold on. Whoa, guys, I forgot
Just a little
all
preview.
about that. I forgot all about that.
About what?
Well, character count week.
Yeah.
Hey, we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get. Trust me, we're gonna get to that, bro.
We're front facing them a little bit. It's called the transition. See, I was trying to get talk about the format of the show.
Link? Did I see what I tagged you in Facebook, Rich?
What, the Borat thing? Or
Yeah.
I didn't watch it. I didn't have a chance to yet. I did. I heard, but you know what? Right when you did that, my other guy texted me about it, bro. Like, did he snap or what?
Whoa, how do I?
It's hard to be set up when you're a cybersecurity expert. You know, he's America's mayor. How is this guy the president's personal lawyer, unpaid at that, which is massively illegal? But how are you just going to take meetings with anyone who texts you or calls you, regardless of the situation?
I mean,
dude, they can move somebody like that around with a phone call.
So basically, let me play my sound. Let me play my sound. Let me play my motherfucking sound. Hold on. Here's my thing. As you guys may know, a new Borat movie has been filmed during the pandemic where he has pranked fucking everybody you could think of, and the movie is coming out soon. But today, I'm waiting for the new computer to boot back up, so I can bring this up. But today, this is, oh man, this country is falling apart. Rudy Giuliani, America's mayor, was caught on video fondling himself in front of what he thought was a 15-year-old girl.
Wait, what?
You heard that correctly, Rich.
When did that break?
That's what I tagged you in.
It broke earlier today in the Guardian.
Yes. Did you read up on all of it, Eddie?
I did. So
let them know, Eddie. Let them know.
This was sort of prefaced a few years ago or a few months ago, when Rudy Giuliani's personal press secretary made these statements, basically accusing Sacha Baron Cohen of attempting to set him up, and in so many words, implying that not only was Rudy Giuliani not set up, but he was also quickly and easily able to detect the fact that he was attempted to be set up. Now, what the video has shown in the brief amount of coverage that we've seen of this one scene, and only of this one scene, it shows Sacha Baron Cohen's quote-unquote daughter in the room with Rudy Giuliani. Rudy Giuliani is openly, this is an open secret for anyone who's not aware, but Rudy Giuliani is openly known as a huge alcoholic. He's always drinking scotch. He's always smoking cigars. Interesting story about that cigar lounge that he's always in New York is the exact same cigar lounge that Paul Manafort met up with the representatives of Oleg Deripaska in 2016. Coincidence? I'll leave that for you to decide. So Rudy Giuliani is a drunk, and he is very well known for very bad security practices, losing his iPhone password, things like that. Also, he's a cybersecurity expert and has defense contracts with the mayor of Kiev to provide security for them. That's very strange and seems kind of illegal. But anyway, So Rudy Giuliani is known for taking these meetings with random people, anything to chase a dollar, any meeting he can with anyone to advance his political agenda. Now, with that being said, Borat, Sasha Sarah Cohen, has been filming a movie in this pandemic where he is basically rebooting Borat in the sense that it's an examination of the state of American political discourse through comedy, and in this new character rendition, he's meeting with Rudy Giuliani. Rudy Giuliani is in this room with Sarah Sasha Cohen Baron's daughter, 15 years old. He's drinking. He's tucking his hands into his pants, pulling his shirt up, in, if not very creepy fashion, at least very suggestive and indicative of the fact that he's interested in being serviced in some way by Sacha Baron Cohen's daughter, who, by the way, guys, there's no way they actually put a 15-year-old girl in that room with Rudy Giuliani, but that's beside the point. He thinks that she's 15.
Yeah, just him.
So the scene ends with Borat bursting into the room in a bikini, I believe, or a dress, yelling at Rudy Giuliani, saying, "You can't have her. She's too young, too old for you. You can't have her," and then running out of the room. Complete madness. But to tie to what we were getting at, this idea that Rudy Giuliani is peddling Russian disinformation concerning Hunter Biden's magically found laptop in right before the election, a complete reprisal of the 2016 handbook that they ran. And right before the election breaks, all of Rudy Giuliani's credibility, which was already in the toilet, has been flushed. And so that's more or less the gist of this story that broke in the last day or so.
Yeah, I seen it for the first time about an hour ago when it floated across my Facebook news feed, and I tagged Rich in it, hoping that he's seen it before this because, excuse me.
You should have texted me, bro, and told me. I didn't I thought it was Borat just clowning someone. I didn't realize
here's a well, hold on. Here's a photo. Rudy Giuliani. Oh. Come on, Rudy.
Oh shit!
Yeah. Really?
The computer's open. Yeah.
Really?
And if you zoom in, you could tell it's Rudy.
Yeah.
Because Rudy's looking a little dead. Like that's why he's looking dead lately, because he's scared to death when it's just gonna drop. It's here.
So when's your video with the 15-year-old gonna drop, Rob? Because you're looking kind of pale too.
Damn. Rob got 15-year-old videos. Rob's about to get Me Too'd and shit.
No, I will. No. I behave. I behave. Any woman that I am associated with is completely overage. Yeah, I that's a perfect thing to lead in with and use my breaking news sound, because I haven't been able to use that for a couple weeks.
I'm surprised.
Get that shit.
I'm surprised you didn't use the intro to Borat where he's like, "I like you. I like sex. Very nice."
YouTube would flag us.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
true.
YouTube would flag us, mute that part of the video. But hold on.
This motherfucker's got COVID, still smoking backwoods, bro.
I don't have COVID. I was exposed to somebody that may have been exposed.
You're wild, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get into the show. We're gonna start the show usually with what I end the show with, and that's with our favorite president in the history of presidents. That was a joke, guys.
There it is.
No. I'm you know what I'm looking for, Rich. I'm looking for a picture.
I'm surprised it took you that long. You should always have it on deck at this point.
Oh, I just realized that the Cheeto is also the size of his penis.
We are an explicit podcast, guys, and YouTube has labeled us as such. So we are not family.
This is a
friendly unless
family
you don't-
show. This was supposed to be
Yeah.
a family
Oh, don't
show.
worry. Rudy Giuliani's all over the
We said
family.
we said we were informative. We didn't say we are family oriented.
No,
But
we never promised you
we're
that.
gonna get into some Trump stuff.
Trump stuff.
I need a Trump stuff fucking sound.
We do. We definitely need a Trump stuff sound.
Yeah, like
Just next week we'll get a Big Mac. I'll record some audio of myself eating a Big Mac.
What about like the sound of like an air coming out of a balloon, bro? That's what Trump stuff.
What about the sound of a whoopee cushion?
Yeah.
Or wait, you know,
or like a wet fart.
Ready, Rich? No, I have it. Rich, no,
What
I have
you
it.
got?
And, you know, I
What
like
you got?
too.
Hit him, DJ. Hit me.
We can save that one for the election.
Eddie, we are live streaming during the election.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Eddie is going to be in Washington D.C. for the election.
Yes, sir.
Man, you could jump down on a segment, bro. Jump on from DC. Let us know what it's like on the ground.
We're definitely going to be bringing a bunch of fireworks. We're definitely going to riot whoever wins. So,
hey, equal opportunity rioters.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
I mean,
is it a celebration riot or is it an anger riot?
Well, to quote, it's always sunny.
We'll find out.
Anytime that there's a chance of a riot breaking out, I'm getting blasted on grain alcohol.
That shouldn't be too bad. But we're gonna get into some Trump shit.
Trump shit.
I don't even know where to start. He's been kind of.
We decided we're gonna start with the 60-minute stuff.
You want to start? Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, hold on. I wanted this. This is kind of political, kind of not, but it is breaking news. As of a couple hours ago. So I want to touch. I don't want to get into it, but I do want to talk about it before we get into everything else, real quick. And I'll just remind it of it. Purdue Pharma has pleaded guilty to contributing to the opioid crisis and will shut down. What the hell? What's that?
I don't know. We got someone crossing lines.
What the?
That was me. Sorry about that. No, that was me.
Oh, okay. What the hell? I'm looking at. Hey, me and Rich already think the show's haunted.
No,
we already think the show's haunted.
So, it's a ghost. But it's a ghost.
Yeah. Purdue Pharma is going to shut down. They pled guilty to their role in they're shutting down, and they have to shut down and dissolve to pay the $8 billion in fines.
Yeah, dude, they got cracked.
So one of the biggest drugs. What else does Purdue Pharma make?
Bro, and you know what? The deal they made does not protect any specific member of leadership from fucking indictment either. They could still, if they find criminal wrongdoing, they're still going to come back and indict each guilty person. That's wild.
So interesting thing about Purdue Pharma is that they were previously represented by a man named Rudy Giuliani.
That's not surprising.
Hey, I haven't had it for a while, but it's back now. I don't know where my gunshots. I had a gunshot.
How many sounds do you have on that thing?
Quite a bit.
Okay.
I have intro, outro, applause. The rim shot, crickets.
Mm-hmm.
I got the sad trombone for anything Trump related. Got the laugh stuff like that. But let's get into the 60 minutes. Trump was doing a 60 minutes interview, and basically took his ball and went home.
Yeah,
he got tired of the conversation basically being based totally about coronavirus and left. Is the basic gist of it. What was the breakdown of it, Eddie?
Well, yeah, that's exactly what it is. He didn't like the questions, and he stormed off and launched a counterattack on the woman from 60 Minutes who
Leslie Stahl.
Leslie Stahl.
So apparently at some point she walked into the White House and like didn't have her mask on, for example. And they were trying to use that as an example of the unfair media bias and hypocrisy to show that you can't trust their version of the fact that Donald Trump hated the questions and gave up on them. It's interesting to think that like what happens tomorrow. You think Trump is going to walk away in the middle of the debate if he gets frustrated with not being able to talk over Joe Biden?
Bro, he's gonna scream over Joe Biden, even if they cut the mics off.
Yeah, I think so.
I said that 3 weeks ago, and I still believe it.
What are the chances that he's gonna fucking blow a vein and stroke on the stage?
No, I think he's going to stroke out after he loses the election and realize he's about to get indicted, him and his entire family.
Rikers Island is his new address. New York's
Yeah.
right after this. But yeah, he
Well, it's interesting to me because not because of like what happened. Like he walked out in media interviews before and like has very much been antagonistic to the press his entire life. But you realize that like the cycles are being run shorter and shorter, right? Like to go back to Rudy Giuliani real quick. I know we're going to talk about this later, but like this Hunter Biden laptop thing, like nobody believes them. You got the usual people who were in 2016 who were supporting Trump, who are trying to hype this into a story. Nobody cares, and it's not just that nobody cares. The shtick is running dry, and the episodes of Trump TV or whatever are running shorter and shorter because he can't handle the pressure.
Bro, I said this.
See this happen, 60 Minutes, but you're also going to see it happening on Thursday. And so you think even like a year ago when we've talked about how lack of transparent the White House has been, but even a year ago, Trump would have gone on TV and like done a crazy 2-hour press conference and then walked out when the questions were a little bit too tough. Now he's walking out after 20 minutes. He can't even do the whole 60 minutes, pun intended.
Right. It was basically 45. They were there for 45 minutes.
Well, they interviewed Biden too, and they're doing a side-by-side thing,
Yeah. And
so I think it's 30 and 30.
For the Pence thing. He walked out. He was supposed to do a walk and talk segment also. 60 Minutes is notorious for that. They got they're walking along, talking to the interview, and shit like that. And they cut it in to the live aspect or whatever. But or the other pre-recorded aspect. And he was supposed to come back out and do it with Pence also, but he didn't do that. And then like Eddie said, he went on a tweet storm.
2 days to Eddie's point, 2 days ago, it kind of hit me as like, man, this is really starting to feel like a bad sequel.
Oh yeah,
it really is.
It's what scares me. But with the record number of early voting, I think, and it's I've seen lines in areas, where it's. Well, I mean, he's gonna win. My county is gonna be the only county in Indiana that or maybe LaPorte County that he'll win, that Biden will win, like Trump will win Indiana. But I'm still hopeful because of the early voting.
Yeah.
Yeah, early voting is going gangbusters. I just to reiterate like what I said, I just think that if you look at like Trump or Trump world in general, like I mean, look at like just in general, like the back to this Rudy Giuliani thing, like Rudy Giuliani a year ago would have not been in this position. And not to say that Rudy Giuliani didn't help, like he hurt their case very much when it came to impeachment, in January and stuff. But ultimately it was meaningless because the Senate was never going to convict him anyway, which kind of hurts them in the election now. But I think that when you see how they're jumping from story to story, trying to find something to stick, it shows you the total desperation of the moment and how fast they're burning through their assets. I mean, they got Brad Pascal is 5150. Like 4 years ago, Brad Pascal had the stamina and the strength to help run the campaign, and now they're in a position where, because of all the missteps, now there's really no other options for them except to try and go for bottom of the ninth home run. And the problem is they already ran this exact same play 4 years ago, and everyone is wise to, one, what the play is, and two, what the point of the play is. It's why Kanye West. It's why Jared Kushner is running, or is helping pay Kanye West legal bills so Kanye West can be a writing candidate as a third party member. First of all, it's massively illegal as well. It's part and parcel of what they do is to break the law. But this is the same thing that they did in 2016 with Jill Stein and Bernie Sanders to push people away from Hillary. The problem is people don't want to be pushed away from Hillary. The only thing that Hillary Clinton did wrong in 2016 was run as a white woman for president. I mean, you could say I have plenty of criticism as Hillary Clinton. The difference between Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden is that one is a man and one's a woman. That's the only difference.
Okay.
But I think that like now that you have two white men running against each other, a lot of the external factors that can impact a race, such as these crazy revelations about Hunter Biden or Rudy Giuliani or all these other people, they don't matter as much because, one, we already know what's coming, and two, if you look at the cycle of 2016 versus 2020, this is why 2020 is a different race. Look at the polling on 538 of 2016, and you'll see how Hillary Clinton was up 12 points after Access Hollywood dropped, and then the email stuff dropped, and the FBI thing was a thing, and then the case was over, but then the FBI thing was open again. Like, you'll see wild swings in the voting polling in 2016, where the race had huge margins for Hillary Clinton, and then it was tied, and then Hillary Clinton pulled ahead again. If you look at 2020, it's pretty much going in the opposite direction. They start at this point, right? And Biden's going up here and Trump's coming down. And nothing that's happened in the last 6 months has done anything to change the overall focus of the race, which is Joe Biden pulling ahead and Donald Trump falling behind. And that's why I think 2016, besides the early voting and everything, is a much different race because the race has never been tight.
I've been asking for a month, like, what event could occur that would change people's vote? Like, what would it take? And I haven't gotten an answer from anybody. I don't know that there's anything that could make anybody change their vote at this point.
Yeah, I mean, the guy who, I mean, one thing that's interesting to me that I wanted to see Kamala Harris do that she didn't do, and I kind of get why she didn't, but Mike Pence was debating with Kamala Harris, and he's the head of the coronavirus task force, and he's the vice president, right? The president of the United States got infected with COVID, and he's an idiot and did it to himself, right? But like, I don't understand, like, the guy whose job it is to keep his boss from getting sick managed to get his boss sick. And
well, I mean, bro, you listen, you know, someone asked me a question about the president getting COVID tested earlier, and I'll tell you the same thing I told them. Like, ain't nobody telling Donald Trump to do shit, bro. Like, you could suggest this or that. You know what I'm saying? You could get your 2 cents in, but at the end of the day, he's going to tell you how the fuck it's going to go. And you serve at the leisure of the president, and you know he abuses that shit because he's a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
So I can't blame nobody else for the dumb shit that happens to him except for him.
Yeah, and it's exactly why he was able to leave Walter Reed when he was able to leave, because he's the commander in chief. Walter Reed Hospital is run by medical, staff that work for the United States military.
Dude, that doctor trashed his credibility for him.
You can tell him what you want, but he's the boss, and if he wants to leave, he can leave, and you can't stop him. You literally can't stop him. What are you gonna do? Stand in front of the door?
Nah, man. Okay, there ain't shit you can do.
Greg thinks Eddie talks too much.
Okay.
You know Greg?
Yeah.
Some feedback.
When
It's one
people say
man's
weird things,
opinion.
I think they just don't like to be informed. That's all that they think. People don't like to be informed of things.
Well, we got
Um,
fucking
uh,
yeah.
back to Trump's. He's
His
been
run
on the
he's been
full
on
court press.
basically since COVID.
Yeah, and he's and what's crazy is in oh girl, Mrs. Trump, she's been noticeably absent from everything on the campaign
She's
trail.
kind of been like that though, bro. A couple years ago, I thought she was dead. Like
Yeah, well,
she was missing for a month, bro. She was on a milk carton, but then
yeah,
she
but
popped back up.
if you go back 2 weeks to the election, they're always together. You go back to any election and any candidate, and their wives are with them.
Well, come on. I mean, Trump ain't like most couples, bro. He's on his third wife. She knows what she's there for. You know what I'm
Um,
saying? She's probably the least interested first lady in the history of this country. And I don't
la-
blame her, bro. Like, that ain't what she signed up for. This motherfucker just went on some dumb shit. And, like, they didn't even believe it was going to win. That
yeah,
they're going to win. And they did, you know? So it was like, it was shocking to them that it even became a reality. Um,
Mitt Romney today said that he did not vote for Trump in the 2020 election.
he already voted, and he voted against
Yeah,
Trump, or not for Trump.
yeah. Mitt Romney says he did not vote for Trump in the 2020 election.
Dude, Ben Sass cooked his ass real good too at the end of last week.
And then
He went,
last night to start wrapping up the Trump stuff. Last night I learned about the Chinese bank account that
yeah.
wasn't disclosed or anything, and that's just been sitting there this whole time. And he got a little smirk on his face.
You got something for that, Ed?
Well, I was just going to say it's interesting that Trump pays more taxes to the Chinese government than to the American government.
Your point is well founded.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean, he pays a lot of people more than the American government. Yeah, my big thing was, Stormy Daniels was the same year he paid $750 in taxes. I'll repeat that over and over again.
yeah.
130,000 to a porn star, 750 to the fucking country. Thanks, bro.
Thanks, bro. I can't wait till I can say go to
Rebuild
jail,
the
bro.
military, bro. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not that far. Like, I know that there's U.S. attorneys looking at him for different things, but it's sort of one of those I'll believe it when I see it situations, whether they actually pull the trigger on indicting him. I definitely think that this is a great chance to fucking really shove through a revised tax code. Like, if not now, when? When are you ever going to fix all these loopholes and all this bullshit that they've been talking about my whole adult life?
I would love to see a federal cabinet level position specifically tasked to work with the inspector generals of all federal departments, specifically to investigate corruption, whether it's state, local, federal, city councils, your big banks, whatever it is. Your mandate is to lock people up for corruption, white collar crime, whatever you want to call it. We need to get these people out of here with their hidden tax money and donating to politicians to, look out favorably for them. I mean, look, we can even look at Chicago. The person who did Trump's taxes, for the assessment for Trump's taxes, Ed Burke, indicted by the FBI. Ed Burke's law firm is the one
Yeah.
that hooked Trump up with his tax break in Chicago. So corruption breeds corruption.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that now is a good time to tackle that head on.
I'm with it. Rob, you ready to move on?
Yeah. What's next on? Let's wrap up this Trump stuff.
So I learned something today that I did not know while I was prepping for this. Is interesting.
Okay.
I want to talk a little bit give an update on the stimulus bill. The Senate put a bill up for a vote today. And I didn't even know that. It was a Republican-led bill. It was $500 billion.
Yeah,
There was no stimulus check, and there was definitely liability protection for businesses for COVID. That shit went down in flames.
McConnell said, what was it, Thursday or Friday of last week? He said that they're going to introduce it this week. There's another one they're going to introduce too.
Well, it's garbage, and it did not get the votes to pass. They were 9 votes short.
Yeah.
So here's the deal from the way I see it. I've been giving this a lot of thought, and I really think that both sides are misplaying the situation. I think if you're Nancy Pelosi, because right now they're at what 1.8 and she wants 2.2, I think. If you're Nancy Pelosi, I say you agree to the 1.8 because the Senate Republicans don't want to pass the shit. So make them fucking eat it. And if they don't pass it, bro, if they shoot it down, their own bill, it's a wrap. Or you brought 1.8 trillion in aid to the people, but then you hand Donald Trump a win. So I understand why she's holding it back, but I really think like she needs to play chicken. Like both sides are scared of this. And if you're the Republicans, especially Donald Trump, give Nancy everything she wants because you know she don't want to pass shit before the election because it makes Trump look good. So just agree to her shit and make her eat it. But they're too scared to do that because they don't want to fucking pay the bill. And it sucks for people right now, man. But it's like, yo, the American people are the ultimate currency here. So that's why we're caught in the middle of this. And it's because it's so close to the election. And it's one side trying to make the other believe that the other side is to blame, is where we're at. And I just think they're both misplaying it.
It's definitely
Mitch McConnell.
The curve is definitely not flattening.
Yeah, Mitch McConnell came out and told the White House that they should not pass a bill before the election.
Yeah, he said the same thing to his internal staff. I mean,
you're
right.
The Senate Republicans don't want it, man. Some of their race is going to kill them if they have to approve it, or it's going to kill them if they say no. And that's why I love it. That's why Nancy needs to agree to their terms. Send it to Nancy. Come on, send it to the Senate, bro. Let's see what they do. Worst case scenario, we get 1.8 trillion. Like, I mean, I know it's not the 3 she wanted, and she's given 1.2 trillion back. No one talks about that. But fuck it. Take the 1.8 right now. We'll get more when we get Biden in. But roll the dice. Make them choke on it. Please. I'm so for that. That's all I got on that.
It would work, I think.
Man, it would be fun to watch because those Republican senators would be squirming with that bill in their lap.
Yeah, they should just pass it and hold a major press conference the day before the election and say, we're waiting. The Democrats have done our job.
I mean, we did that in, March when they did the CARES Act or May?
Yep.
You know, the House did. I don't know. To be continued. Mark Meadows talked some shit today that I heard a couple times, but Mark Meadows is a fucking liar and scumbag.
Mark Meadows is in deep trouble. He's been, well, you saw how Mike Meadows resigned or quit his office race to become the White House chief of staff. Turns out, he's not a politician anymore, right? He's been using his campaign finance funds for personal items. Thing called campaign finance law. It's massively illegal. Mark Meadows is going to have his turn in the barrel.
I mean, I'm totally content with that. I haven't liked him since the Freedom Caucus. That motherfuckers were assholes. Early voting is next on the list. Just some updates. 40.6 million votes casted so far, which is pretty much crushing records. 53% Democrat, 36% Republican. That other 11% is non-party, I'm guessing. 21 million votes casted in battleground states, which is pretty high. 46 states currently have open early polling or early voting. Mail-in balloting, I found some numbers. 52.8% Democrat, 25.2% Republican, 21.5% non-party affiliated. Guys, that right there is where I think this race is going to be won and lost. Whoever those people voted for, that 21%, that's the difference, how that breaks. And that's all I really got on that. But I do have some updates on some.
I just wanted to make a quick
Sorry,
note.
sorry. Go ahead, man.
There have been more votes cast in the first, so it's 2 days, the last 2 days in Florida for early voting. All of Florida has early voted more in Florida than the whole state did in 2016.
Texas did that too. Or is
So
doing that.
yeah, well, Texas opened voting last week.
Yeah, it's true.
But Florida in the last 2 days has voted more in 2020 than they did in all of 2016, which is pretty incredible.
Yeah. And you know what? To your point, I did see some numbers just like an hour before the show about Florida polling, and they said that it was Republicans 43% and Democrats 42% so far of the early voting. So again, it's that that's 43, 42, it's 85. That other 15% is going to decide the state. It's which way they're breaking. I really think.
It very well
So
could
we,
be. It very, very well could be.
yeah. So we made a
And
promise. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Rob. I'm like running through this shit. I need to
it's
shut up. Go ahead.
that's the scary thing. Like you said, it's scary as fuck because, and you know what it is? I hope it's young kids. Well, when I say young kids, you know what I mean because I'm old. But
Yeah.
I hope it's the younger demographic that hasn't been voting, so they're undeclared. So they're just there they're there,
Yeah.
learning their lesson. Evil. There we have
And
it.
it, and I've seen a couple states where the polling breakdown was the early voting was severely favoring the Democrats, but then election day voting is heavier Republican. So we're really going to have to see how this swings on election day. Like they're going to have this great push. Now we're going to have some mail-in votes after that still, and I'll get to some of that in a second. But they're going to have a big push on a Republican push on election day, and we got to see if all our early voting coupled with what's left of our day of voting is going to stand up to that. That's going to be how the tale unfolds.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a couple of good articles from 538 recently about how more Republican support does not, or more Republican turnout does not necessarily reflect more Trump voters. And there's also one about how the most competitive races are not in Michigan, Pennsylvania, or Wisconsin. They're looking more at like Georgia, Ohio, Iowa,
Yeah.
Texas, which if you lose Texas, I mean, forget it.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this, and I've been saying this, I'll continue to say this. If Biden wins Florida, it's an early night for us. If Trump wins, that don't mean Biden's out, but now it's a slugfest till the end. But if Biden takes Florida, it's a wrap. We're walking.
Yeah, I was reading earlier on that as well. I don't have the specific numbers in front of me, but Biden could lose Florida and win Pennsylvania and Arizona and still have like 79%, 80% chance of winning the election if he had like Michigan and Colorado and stuff.
Yeah.
But if Trump loses Arizona and Pennsylvania or Florida and Arizona, he's got like a 10% chance. He would have to pick everything else up.
Eddie just went mute. Eddie, you're on mute for some reason.
Oh, did you not hear me what I just said?
No, I did. It went. It cut out right after that.
I muted myself on purpose.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Yeah, I have anxiety over this shit. Like I want to get this shit over with. Can
bro, our live show that day is gonna be so wild. It's gonna be so wild, bro. I might come to the studio for it. We might have to just watch that shit. We'll order some more pizza and just do it.
Yay. It is. Let's go.
Yeah. Rob, you're cutting out.
Was that it for that?
Oh yeah. Well, so okay, yeah. So the next thing would be, last week we really got into voting, and we said we would do some updates on some of these cases that are going on state by state. So I have a few updates. Eddie, I think you're going to want to jump on this first one a little bit because this one is fun, I think. Pennsylvania, The Supreme Court ruled, and it was a 4-4 tie on a mail-in ballot extension. Now the state law upholds, and the state law from the state Supreme Court was that they can receive the ballots up to 3 days after the election as long as they're postmarked by the election date. So you have 3 days beyond the election to receive these mail-in ballots as long as they're post-dated by the day of the election. The Republicans were fighting that, and it went all the way to the Supreme Court. And like I said, it was a 4-4 tie, so that it stands. It's a win for the Democrats. But here's the interesting thing: 4 conservative judges said that they wanted to intervene on a state law, which conservative or Republicans are supposed to be the party of state rights. Well, here you are, 4 of them wanted to topple the state right and overturn it for their own party's interest. And I think that's kind of some bullshit. What do you guys think?
I would agree with you, but here's a disagreement on that, because we've talked a little bit about federalism versus states' rights in the last episode. I think what's interesting about this is that we've talked about the confirmation of Amy Coney Barrett, and how it could radically shift the court in 2021. But actually, if you see here, I mean, yeah, 4 conservative judges voted, and it ended up being a tie. But really, what happened? I mean, the state law was ultimately what was already the state law was upheld. So it's not like it was a mystery to the Democrats in Pennsylvania that they better get their votings and the stuff in the mail, because it's got to be postmarked 3 days before after the end of the election.
I will say, man, like one of the votes on our side was John Roberts, who is as a conservative, and what you said earlier, which is the Amy Coney Barrett coming in. It could have been a 5-4 ruling the other way. Next time it might be. It very well might be.
But at the same time, the election has to end at some point, right? It has to end at some point. You got to get your votes counted by some point, and then the rate declared. I mean, we're not just going to be checking mail-in ballots for a year. So I understand why 3 days versus 7 days is contentious, or could change a race, especially in a place like Pennsylvania. But it's not. I think it's baked into the political calculus of Pennsylvania before the election even starts. So we know that we need to get all our votes in by, the 5th. So the party direction is to move toward getting it all in before November, October 30th or whatever, because we need those. We only have a 3-day grace period at best. So I think that you're right that it's cause for concern, but I actually don't think that for this particular moment is actually reflective of. It's reflective of the way that the court could move in the future, but it actually didn't have any impact to this election, in my opinion.
Well, no, it didn't. But I don't know. It was just a crazy thought to me that 4 Republicans, the party of states' rights, tried to overturn a state law. I just thought that was a little funky, a little hypocritical. But moving on, North Carolina, Republicans were blocked by a federal appeals court. Absentee ballots are counted up to 9 days after the election, if postmarked by election day. So the Democrats won an even larger time frame in North Carolina. So I don't know. Take it for what it is, I guess. Eddie, you're right. Like, it's got to stop at some point. But I mean, I guess they chose 9 days.
Get on with the fucking shit.
And that again, that gives me to my point last week. This gives me a lot of confidence that this election is not going to be stolen, because, I mean, we can say the Republicans are this or they're that, or the Democrats are weak, whatever you want to say, but you would have to corrupt the federal election system, which is not a federal election system. It's made up of states, local county workers. I mean, there's people who are Democrats in Chicago who sign up to be poll watchers and work for the Republican Party just because it's needed for Republican votes to be counted. And so there's a good faith basis historically of poll workers doing the job that's required of them. But even if you corrupted 1 or 2 or 20 of them, you would have to corrupt literally the whole country. And there are thousands of people, attorney generals, secretaries of state in Kansas and Michigan and stuff. It is actually a much harder effort than just doing what the lazy thing would be. The lazy, easy thing, the Trump thing to do, is to come out regardless of what the election results say and say, I won anyway.
Yeah, which I think is likely. if that's how the results play out. Well, but not to take you off your high horse of hope and dreams, but Tennessee, a judge held up. Well, a judge actually said they weren't even able to undo a state Supreme Court ruling that said there will be no absentee balloting for COVID. So excuse only. So the battles still continue on in some of these states, but we're trying.
Why wouldn't it? All right. Well, got the law.
Hunter Biden next. Go, Rob. Go ahead. I know you've been dying to dive into this.
I mean,
red meat.
We got into it. Okay, we got into this. We got into it a little bit ago. He was talking about kind of mirrors 2016 with everything happened in 2 weeks before the election, where with the major mudslinging, so to speak. And of course, like clockwork, like Eddie was talking, here comes the mysterious Hunter Biden laptop in Delaware, and don't he live in California now? Like
I don't know where Hunter Biden is. I don't know what he's doing. I don't even care.
He randomly
I'm not
takes
gonna
the
lie to you.
laptop to Delaware and not pay and don't pay for it. And the thing is, Giuliani's had this for information for months.
Yeah.
And he's just been squatting on it, waiting for the perfect time. And guess what? You probably should have waited another week, or actually, fucking Sacha Baron Cohen was waiting. Like he was waiting for the right time to drop that Giuliani fucking Borat shit.
Well, he got it.
And he got it. It was perfect fucking timing. He was like, oh, guess what? Well, check this out. Boom. It's like playing spades. Boom. Just won the fuck out of that book. But Eddie, like what the New York Post, first of all. The New York Post.
The New York Post, the fake New York Post. I mean, it's a scam job all the way through, right? Like the person who edited the article didn't put their name on it because they edited the article, but they thought it was complete shit, right? I mean, they're just doing their job. And they edited it and didn't want to put their name on it because it was complete garbage. And so the person who did write the article is a person who's never written in the New York Post before. Before that, they were working at like Breitbart or OAN or one of these garbage publications, right?
How it all comes together.
So if you look at the New York Post, it has two bylines, and it's because they put the name of the guy who edited it as a byline, even though he didn't want his name on there. Rudy Giuliani admits that nobody else wanted to touch it because they all wanted to verify that the information was correct before they even published anything. And he admitted that he doesn't care if it's disinformation or misinformation in there. For them, it's a political win to make these accusations what they're going to.
Like, why? What the fuck?
I've got another theory that I heard, and I think it actually makes a lot of sense. If anyone remembers, and this wasn't huge news, but Burisma got hacked in January by the Russians.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think that a lot of these, because Biden, no one from the Biden camp has really came out and said these emails are bullshit, man. There's a lot of things that they haven't said. And maybe, they have their own reasons for that. But you would think that they would just come out and deny it.
They don't want to play into it. They don't want to play into it. That's exactly what it is. This close to
possible that, like the DNC hack in 2016 and like the Russian hack of the French election, 99% of these emails are real, but there's just one or two key fake ones that they added in. And then they handed them to Rudy, who had to create a whole story to release them because they couldn't just say, "Hey, we hung up, we got info with the hackers." That got
Yeah.
what's his fuck Roger fucking fuckface Stone locked up
Yeah.
for a day, you know. But
For a day.
that's another story. But I think that a lot of this stuff stemmed from the Burisma hack, and that it's just kind of spiced up with some fucking dramatic flair with some fake shit thrown in, but it puts them in a position where they can't exactly deny everything because some of that shit is real, just not the real damning parts.
Yeah, it's amplification for sure is a concern, but also by responding to it at all, you do give it legitimacy. And you're right,
That's fact.
there is legitimacy in. I'm not saying that the emails aren't hacked or that their emails aren't there, but it's you. I've seen people on the far right saying that there's videos of Hunter Biden raping Chinese kids. And
Yeah, I heard that too. You know what? Then indict him. Then let me see an indictment, then, dude. I don't want to hear no fucking Rudy Giuliani shit. Like, show me an indictment, bro. The feds had this for a year.
But also, you've been sitting on a laptop with child porn on it and handing it off to a bunch of people, including people in Congress and stuff like that, for a hard drive that came from probably a Russian spy, Andrei Jerkov or whatever his name is.
The Russian Andrei Jerkov.
No. It's Andrei
with a V. Yeah.
I forget his name, but he was the guy who got sanctioned by the Treasury recently for being a Russian intelligence officer.
Yeah. I don't know, they just indicted like 15, well, maybe not 15, a group of Russian intelligence officers.
Andrei RII. But anyway, this is the same play. I was actually reading something, if you give me a second to pull it up, but it's the same play. It's Russian disinformation, right? This is the same, literally this play that they ran in 2016, except it wasn't Hunter Biden. It was Hillary Clinton eating kids in a pizza shop in DC.
Right.
Like it is a classic.
Came out and said that it's not Russian disinformation.
It's a classic. Well, yeah, even the American intelligence services say so, but it's a classic tactic of Russian intelligence services to plant, or any intelligence service really, to plant child pornography or document on people's laptops and use them to denigrate their political opponents or get them locked up.
Well, at this point, it's definitely the flavor of the week, dude. Like Oprah was raping babies. Tom Hanks was on house arrest and fled the country.
Yeah.
Like, dude, like Hillary Clinton. When was Hillary Clinton raping little boys? Shut up. Like, it's so corny, man. It's always a list of Democrats. Never the Republicans. Never Trump, who has 1,000 pictures with Jeff Epstein.
Right. So
the guy who's cheated on 3 wives and is a known whore, paid $130,000 to a porn star. Definitely was not touching on kids, though. No way.
So there's an article from 2017 regarding Paul Manafort's attempts to stop Spanish anti-corruption money laundering prosecutors go from prosecuting a case involving these 3 Russian people who are accused of being money launderers. And in his attempts, and there's audio tapes of this, but in his attempts to find ways to stop this Spanish probe of money laundering, they are talking and planning on how they can frame the prosecutors with false accusations of pedophilia in order to get them withdrawn from the case and have the case dropped. So this is not a new play. By the way, Paul Manafort is also on house arrest. What is the over and under that he's helping the Trump campaign right now? Has anyone asked that question? Because he's broke and he's got nothing to do, and a bunch of people are still mad at him that he owes favors to. But this is not a new trick at all. And that's why I say earlier, the cycles and the assets are getting burned faster and faster. I mean, they spent a whole year building this up, and they hit the New York Post, and nobody cares.
No, man. I mean,
and Mark, to your point, if it's true, lock them up. I don't care.
Right. I'm not even sure what this has to do with Joe Biden. They keep like trying to loosely tie it to him through some kind of corruption scandal. And it's like, dude, this is at worst, this is Hunter just being a piece of shit. Okay, send him to jail then.
But also the videos of him in bed with prostitutes and smoking crack and stuff, like this is like the image that Donald Trump himself has portrayed in the 70s and 80s.
Right.
Exactly.
Just without the crack smoke part, but yeah.
Yeah.
um,
Definitely what.
so we've got debates coming up on Thursday.
Yeah, tomorrow night.
Oh yeah, fuck, it's Wednesday.
I think it's gonna be another shit show, and Trump's gonna end up yelling because the mics are gonna be muted, and it's gonna be, and Biden's just gonna stand there cool and calm and collected with a fucking smirk on his face as fucking Trump throws a temper tantrum.
Trump's definitely gonna yell over the muted mic, bro.
Oh yeah.
He's definitely gonna be fucking yelling over Joe Biden.
Why wouldn't he?
He's just gonna Trump his way to death, bro. Like there is no turning back for him. He is gonna lean into his shit and he's gonna own it and be his.
Because he has to.
Trump is gonna Trump, bro.
He's too.
He can't do nothing else.
He has to play it out. He has to play it out.
Like he's gonna, and that's the thing. Like you can, and we were talking about the Hunter Biden shit, and it's like, well, let's not pay no credence to it. Trump is gonna hit Joe Biden with that shit tomorrow night, and he's gonna have to say something. So you could duck it up until this point, but you better have something laid out for these debates, bro, because he's gonna cook you with it, and he's gonna make you look like an asshole on national TV if you let him.
The press secretary lady was talking about how the debate committee is favoring Biden with the topics, even though all the topics were agreed upon a while ago.
They're crying about everything. They always cry. It's all they do is bitch and whine.
Make some suggestions.
Make themselves out to be
for
victims.
Some different
Shut up.
And shit like that.
I hope none of them ever get a job again.
Yeah, because Trump's not
fucking hot food or fast food joint.
Straight off topic. They're gonna the moderator's gonna say something to Biden. Biden's gonna say something, and Trump's gonna get his 2 minutes or whatever, and he's not gonna say anything that has to do with the topic. He's gonna talk about whatever the fuck he wants to talk about, namely the laptop or whatever. But see, that's what I don't like about these old white men. Why are these old white men our fucking choices? Imagine like two guys our age being president.
Like, bro, I'm really getting excited for this show after this election because I'm getting really tired of fucking talking shit about Donald Trump. Like, I'm excited to cook Joe Biden, bro.
You know that's only going to work if Joe Biden wins, though.
Well, I mean, then we got to do what we got to do. But I'm just saying, like, sooner or later, we're going to get someone other than Trump, dude. He can get it, too.
We're not talking about Trump. We're not going to get any ratings. You heard what he said.
Yeah.
The media wants him to win because the ratings are going to tank if he doesn't.
Oh, sure. I don't.
What am I going to do? Come back, Greg. I'll stop talking, I promise.
Obama said that Trump has been treating the presidency like a reality show, just trying to get all the attention he can.
Yeah, he's speaking in Philadelphia tonight.
He's hitting the campaign trail. With 2 weeks left, he's hitting.
He's actually speaking right now.
Yeah,
the campaign round is already underway.
Obama rips Trump in harshest attack yet, is what CNN says right now on the Chiron.
Yeah, he's ramping it up. He's like Obama's been very, very quiet the last 4 years.
Yo, what is a harsh Obama attack? Like, did he say darn? Dag nabbit, you Donald Trump. He's like the nicest dude.
He's like, I'm not mad at you, Donald. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah,
you let us down. He probably did. He probably made Don feel bad. He didn't talk shit to him. He guilt tripped him.
Hey, mate, we'll find out. But I'm real interested because he's been very quiet, and I mean I knew eventually he'd hit the campaign trail after Biden, said that got the nomination. So it's real. I'm real interested.
He knows how to maximize his impact, bro. He knows when to pop out, and he knows when to chill out. Like Obama's slick like that.
Yeah.
So
talk shit about you in class.
The closest thing I've ever seen Barack Obama to being classless was actually when he was talking shit about Donald Trump running for president at the Correspondents' Dinner in like 2014 or 2015. I
That's
think, and
supposed
I still believe that's when Donald Trump decided he was going to run for president. Was that night when everyone was laughing at him about it, a whole room full of people.
That's not true. People keep saying that over and over.
I've seen the tape.
I've seen the tape too. I remember watching it live. It was hilarious. But Donald Trump has been running for president since his whole career.
He's been talking about it.
Donald
He
Trump
never really did it.
Donald Trump went to the Soviet Union, not Russia. He went to the Soviet Union in 1987, right? 33 years ago. I was born in 87, so I know exactly how long ago it was. 1987, went out there to do a business licensing deal or whatever it was, came home, took out full-page ads in the New York Times, the Boston Globe, and a couple more newspapers. Full-page ads of his own money, spent $130,000. And what were these ads about? Attacking NATO, telling Japan to leave the NATO alliance because they're paying too much and they're on their paying, and the United States shouldn't be weak, and how all these people have been terrible for America, and how NATO is a failed institution. This was in 1987, in the height of the Cold War.
He took out a full
government was declared the national adversary against the government. And he's over here running Russian propaganda in 1987 on the front pages of the New York Times with his own money. Does that seem strange to you? Does it seem strange to you that in 40 years of business, this person who's considered impulsive and reckless and impossible to control has been perfect in his form and has never once criticized the Russian government for anything? He's never said, well, yeah, this Russian guy, he stiffed me one time, what a jerk, but all the other Russians I've worked with have been great. It takes an inordinate amount of discipline to do that for 40 years, 33 years, and then for you to turn around and say, well, he ran for president in 2016 because Barack Obama made fun of him in 2013. So what? He was running in the 90s. Obama wasn't anybody in the 90s, and Donald Trump was still talking about dismantling NATO.
Donald Trump has been kicking around political ideas for a long time. I mean, that's why we have all the tweets of him criticizing Barack Obama, but then he's doing the same shit while he's in office because he was riding Barack Obama like a fucking asshole the whole time. He's been having his toe in those waters. He's been spending with politicians, and he's been kicking around the idea of running for 30 years, but he never really ran for office until he came down that golden elevator.
You don't think this Central Park 5 tough on crime racist thing that he did, it was part of what could have been a political platform built on?
I mean, was he building a brand? Maybe. Maybe he was building a brand, but he didn't run until he ran. Like, when could you vote for Donald Trump for anything? And that was 2016. But he's been involved way longer than that. Like, you're not wrong.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's the question, right? Like, where's the threshold? Because we can say he's been a racist and a sexist his entire life, and somebody will disagree, I'm sure, but people have said that about him. The Department of Justice has said that about his father. Yeah. But how is that a political? When does that become a political philosophy or a guiding principle of governance?
Well, one of the biggest jokes to me was always when people say he was an outsider. No, he's not. He just never ran for office.
Yeah,
he's been inside the game for a long time.
He's been inside every game for a long time.
Yeah.
He like I was talking to somebody a little bit ago that was asking me. He said that he didn't think Donald Trump was racist, and I said, well, it's a weird situation. I know I compared it to him maybe not being racist per se, but him. What was the phrase that I used? And then I'm not gonna remember it now. It's gonna put me off. But that he just he can't denounce anything because that alienates 85% of his base. So
Yeah, he
there's no talking
definitely.
like
I mean, he definitely caters to racists, man. He uses dog whistles. I mean, all that shit they say. I believe it all. I've seen it.
But this idea that that he's a conservative, that he cares about abortion rights or judicial independence, or
no,
you think he actually cares about?
I wonder how
No,
many times he's paid for an abortion for some prostitute or
those
something
are
that he
those are
does.
things he auctioned off in order to get enough loyalty to win the election.
Yeah, that's true. The Jerry Falwell, by the way, is basically being blackmailed by Michael Cohen into supporting the Trump presidency. If anyone has forgotten about that, I haven't.
No, it's so easy to forget about shit though because there's so much fucking bullshit coming, and you don't know how much of it's gonna stick before something else fucking lands on top of it.
Well, and the big thing for me, especially coming off that last debate with the stand back and stand by, you get people arguing. Our side's like, "Yo, he fucking won't denounce white supremacy," and the other side's like, "Yes, he does. Look," and they'll show you some video, and what he does, and I don't want to say it's clever, but it works. It's effective. Is he'll hit these big moments where he knows everybody's watching, like the debates, and he'll say
Yes,
some dumb shit like "stand back, stand by." Then the next day he'll come out with an interview and say, "I denounce white supremacy," but you don't get the audience on that.
exactly on the
The
grand
white supremacists
stage.
have already had their victory parade at this point.
Yes,
You know what I'm saying? So they have cover because it's like, well, he said he denounced them. Yeah, but he
yeah,
did it too late, and he does that every time with that shit. There's been 3 or 4
Yeah,
instances where he backtracks, but the backtrack don't mean as much as the initial statement. So, but everybody gets what they want, and no one fucking believes anything.
well, and it's just the nature of his speaking style, right? It's mob, but and I keep saying that, and people are gonna keep ignoring me, but it's mob talk. But if you listen to, like, okay, Rob, you want to go get some JJ's right now? You want to get number 3, right? That's a straight up question, yes or no. I don't want a
yeah,
burger, or I don't want JJ's. He'll say, uh, a lot of people are asking me about this, and I've been hearing good conversation on both sides, and we're going to look at it very strongly, and we're going to be very tough, and we're going to be moving along very quickly, and you'll be hearing back on that very shortly, and you're all going to be very surprised, and you're all going to be very happy with our choices. But we're moving very quickly on it. We're moving very strongly on it, and we'll have an answer soon.
And
Like,
then you'll
bro,
never hear
it
anything
doesn't
again.
tell me if you want JJ's or not, right? And this is his whole speaking style is this way. Same thing when he talks the same way about his tax plan or his healthcare plan that's coming in 2 weeks. But like
for
when
for
he
three
asks
years.
questions, he
yeah.
leaves so many possibilities and hypotheticals and nuances and daylight between the actual question and his answer that you never actually get a real answer. And it's a rhetorical device because he's not actually trying to give you an answer. He's trying to give
No,
you. He's trying to get
Bullshit.
out of the room. His whole life has been, let me get out of this room. Let me figure out. Let me figure out what happens tomorrow, and let me kick the can down the road. And that's why he speaks the way he does, because that's what he's trying to accomplish.
Facts.
man, we really like this country's really like this right now. Like, oh my god, it's every day I wake up and I look at my phone, and it's my notifications, and I get notifications from Flipboard, from the iPhone news app, from fucking the Newsbreak app, and the news apps I have on my phone, like the local paper and shit like that. And every day it's like the Groundhog Day movie, but every day it's just worse shit than the day before, and it's just over and over and over and over.
I will say, I've seen. I'm trying to just, numerically use some data to try to figure out this this election, and I mean, there's a lot of shit, that supports what we want to happen, and some things that support him getting reelected, which we don't want. But I do have an alternate sign of encouragement that I've noticed the last couple of days. I've been hearing a lot of like interviews from people as they're after they vote. And one of the things I've been hearing, I've already heard it like 3 or 4 times, is our country is just so divided right now. You know, these are the voters coming out. They're not saying who they voted for, but they would ask them like,
Yeah.
what issue is
Right.
important to you? And I've heard that a few times. Our country's just so divided right now. That ain't good for Donald Trump. That's language to me, coded language for I've had enough of Trump's bullshit. I think.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I think that too, and I really hope everybody else is that's how that's what I hope that's what the case is. Like really,
Yeah.
really.
See,
Unfortunately, that's the nature of the two-party system.
yeah, but it doesn't have to be this bad.
It does. Yeah, I agree.
It hasn't
I
been.
It's going to be.
And no, I disagree with you though.
Two
There's
old-ass white guys.
if you look at the history of the Senate, for example, I mean, people have literally gotten into fisticuffs on the floor of the Senate over the issue of integration. Like the reason why people in the Senate have this attitude of we have to get along, we're a distinguished body, is because of the ugliness of what happened when a senator literally stood in the Senate and punched another senator in the face, beat the shit out of him while he held on to the desk, refusing to vacate his Senate responsibilities and refusing to engage in divisiveness. So you're right that it doesn't have to be this way, but it's also not unheard of for the country to be divided.
No, we've had ugly
you're
moments.
right. It doesn't have to be this way, and it is this way because of one person and one person only.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Exactly.
you'd hope that we've learned from our past, but I think we've forgotten more than we remember these days. Unfortunately.
Polling.
Yeah, polling. Good old time.
Latest poll numbers, according to
I'm kinda
538.
my favorite and yours.
I could hold on. Let me
I've got a tie in Iowa. How about that?
tie in Iowa.
Tie in Iowa, according to Emerson College.
Yeah, I saw some polling that said Biden was up 2 points in Iowa as well.
That's wild. Oh, hey, isn't that fancy?
Okay, here we go.
Look at you, guy.
538, the latest polls. Iowa, Emerson College.
Yeah, that's what I was referencing.
Yeah, dead even, 48%. Arizona.
Here's a fun one in Kansas. Okay, so there's a coefficient poll here where Trump's up 56-39.
Yes,
but then there's two YouGov polls where Biden's up 52-43 and 47-40.
Yeah. And then there's
52-48, yeah.
Yeah, and then there's two Survey Monkey polls where Biden's up +6 and +7 respectively. And then there's another Iowa, a Siena College New York Times one, Iowa one where Biden's up 7.
Yeah.
As I'm scrolling down, if you guys want to look right around here in the middle, that's that for the people watching at home. Wisconsin too.
What are those? You got ratings on yours? I'm not ratings on my app. Is that the quality of the polls?
That is
those. But it's A-, B-.
Yeah,
you see that?
Yeah, the quality of the polls.
Yeah, Nate Silver and them basically weight each poll. So based on how accurate the polling, let's say so Fox News A-, they probably have a history of calling races closer than let's say YouGov or SurveyMonkey. That means that if Biden's up, let's say +4 on Fox News and SurveyMonkey's up 6, they might weigh it to be a 4.5 total because they're giving more weight to the Fox one than the other ones.
Yeah, basically, the YouGov ones are rated B. The Kansas YouGov ones that have Biden up 9, one's up 9 and one's up 7 respectively.
I just don't see him losing Kansas.
Well, basically,
click on that Wisconsin poll. What's that? That Biden's 48. What is Trump there?
Biden's +4.
I can't see the Trump. There you go.
44.
Oh yeah. Okay. Oh, and there's 2 for
Jorgensen got
Jorgensen.
2%. Jorgensen got like these third party fucking voters. Do they realize how fucking retarded they are?
So are all these ones because Biden's popping? Does that mean he's the leader in these? If they're
Yeah.
not showing the other candidates.
Well, that's
Okay.
because
Wow.
that means all the ones they say more. That means Jorgensen's making a dent. Is what that
Yeah.
means. Unless
Yeah.
it's a third party. If I look at one of these motherfuckers and then one of them say Kanye West, I'm gonna fucking knock all this shit over.
Okay, but here's the counterpoint. The people who are going to vote for Kanye West, they're not coming out of Joe Biden camp. The people who are going to vote for Kanye for president are the type of people who voted for Trump anyway.
Jorgensen's at 3% in Ohio, and whoever Hawkins is, who's Hawkins?
I have no idea.
Somebody has an angry dog.
Yeah, it's me.
Jorgensen got 3%. Michigan also. Wisconsin, Jorgensen with 2%, like we just said. Pennsylvania.
Who's voting for her, bro? She is a fucking dead fish. I can't believe she's polling at all.
1% in Pennsylvania.
No, Bob, it's raining again.
3%, like I said, in Ohio. Michigan, 3%. Like, really? Like, Florida, I'm interested in Florida. Biden's polling at 2 in Florida. Hawkins, who is this Hawkins person? Eddie, Google Hawkins person.
Still under orange.
Oh, you got your phone somewhere. Like, who is like? Have you heard anything about some Hawkins, Rich?
Never heard of him. Is that Kanye's political name?
Is somebody writing in? Like, as I scroll down, there's a couple more. Another Florida one. Kanye West is at 1% in Florida. What the fuck? Are you serious?
Howie Hawkins?
You were looking for that.
Fuck, motherfucker.
Of course, in Miami, probably. It's probably his homies.
Motherfucker. This is what I'm fucking talking about. What the fuck? And it's a B- poll.
Yeah.
So,
like,
the biggest
Kanye
problem for
what the fuck?
The biggest problem for Trump, though, in Florida is not senior citizens are moving away from him toward Biden, and people don't like him, the young people in Miami and stuff.
Yeah.
But just think about the number of Puerto Ricans that have had to flee to Puerto Rico to Florida in the last 4 years because of the hurricanes.
Yeah.
If the Democrats do a halfway decent job of registering them to vote, because they are registered, they are able to vote in America.
Yes.
They just can't vote because they're in Puerto Rico, right? So if they're able to get out a halfway decent number of those people to vote against to vote for Biden, that could very easily complicate Trump's chances of winning in Florida.
Well, what about all the felons that are going to be able to vote because
them too?
It's paying a lot of fun.
And I would say don't underestimate the senior vote, bro, because early on Trump was with COVID. It was it's only old people died. Like he threw the old people to the wolves, bro.
Yeah, but all those old people might have died, so their vote's not gonna.
No, a lot of them survived and they're pissed.
Non-existent.
So consider the fact too. I mean, how many of them are going to show up because of COVID?
How many can show up?
Well, yeah, that's probably a lot of mail-in ballots, I would guess.
Yeah, but now here, see, I can't go down that conspiracy rabbit hole. These fucking
That Survey Monkey, Trump's up 18 D-. Your poll sucks, Arkansas. Shut up.
Arkansas?
Trump 22. Shut up, Alabama.
California, Biden up 26, which Connecticut up 26. Delaware up 28. That's where Biden's from. Hawaii up 34. Georgia's still kind of contested, but Biden's favor.
Man, they really don't like Survey Monkey at all.
Idaho. Well, that's a deep.
Indiana, Trump 12. Sorry, bro.
Oh yeah. Like there's only gonna be a few counties.
That's gotta just suck.
No, I don't leave my county, bro. I don't leave my county. If I leave my county, I come to Illinois. So that's really the only place I go.
I mean, I feel you.
I'll give you a hint that what I've been looking at for national polling. So, for example, pull up Georgia real quick.
I think they have one on here.
Yeah, but that's fine.
You could
Just
search it at the top, I
yeah.
think.
Okay, Georgia's got Biden +1. Now go all the way up to the top for the national polling, right? And go to the Senate race for Georgia.
Yep.
See, Ossoff is up 5. So
He's 5 on both polls.
do we think that Trump is gonna get the vote for presidential vote, and then they're gonna vote for Ossoff for the Senate? Probably not.
Some people do split the ticket, though. It's not unheard of.
You're wrong, and it's their right to. I'm vote for whoever you want. I just think it's interesting if you look at the Senate poll, state polling versus the national picture. I think that GA poll is probably underselling Biden a little bit, and if he's tied at that one, he might be up 2 in Georgia.
Yeah, that's very. It's logical thinking, and it's scary thinking because, like Rich said, it's not uncommon to split the ticket.
Well, some people don't want amassing a power. They split the ticket to fucking make sure there's balance, but now that just means obstruction.
And we both know what where we're really looking at. What me and Rich have been looking at very closely. When's the last time they dropped a Carolina one?
Oh, fucking Lindsey Graham's
Harrison
punk ass. I just saw him getting his ass handed to him in money, bro. The Jamie Harrison raised so much money in the third quarter. They went crazy. So I don't know what the polling's doing.
We're voting. Sure. We're voting here. We're voting for governor here, but it's not. Nothing's gonna fucking happen.
They got Joni Ernst winning. I thought she was losing.
Yeah, maybe. Hold on. I'm gonna look for some other shit. But yeah, it's we know how this shit could play out. With the polling, as we see in 2016, it could totally fuck us in the end.
Like, yeah, well, they had their. I think Eddie, you said it earlier, man. Like that shit with the emails. Jim Comey threw them a fucking alley oop last time, and people were looking for a reason to get away from Hillary Clinton. She was an unlikable candidate, unfortunately.
Yeah,
I didn't dislike her. I don't agree with that, but a lot of people didn't like her, and some of that was from the fake news. Some of it was from errors I think were in their campaign. And then, and you know what? Like,
let's pretend that we don't have a campaign in Michigan.
Yeah, never going to Michigan or like Wisconsin once. And I just don't think she was as personal as she could have been, dude. Like I've seen her being way more personable after the election now. There should have been more of that then.
She screwed up severely when she picked Tim Kaine as her VP instead of Elizabeth Warren. Yeah. Not just because I think a lot of people wanted to see somebody like a Bernie Sanders on the ticket. Hillary Clinton screwed up massively by picking Tim Kaine because nobody gives a fuck about Tim Kaine. There would have been people who voted against her if they ran an all-female ticket, but they weren't going to vote for her anyway. Yeah. They're not going to vote for the female president. They're not going to vote for a female VP. So
he was a wet blanket. I'll give you that, man. I like the guy, but he just didn't have a lot of enthusiasm. He didn't have.
I just think that it was a mistake. It caused an enthusiasm gap on the VP side. That the conservatives loved the fact that Mike Pence got nominated, and that helped shore up the base. And I think that more than anything, you said that he was a wet blanket. He was a nobody. He's a footnote in history, right? And in an election that you couldn't afford to run a VP who's a footnote in history, you ran Tim Kaine. And they ran Tim Kaine in a way where everyone on the DNC knew that Tim Kaine was coming. And they played out this, who's it going to be? And when the DNC emails got leaked by WikiLeaks showing that it was a total frame job from the get-go, it pushed a lot of people away from the DNC when they couldn't afford that extra loss of voting.
Right. It was such a low turnout. Like that's the other thing about just the election in general is that it seems like turnout always favors Democrats, and turnout is crazy right now. But I mean, there's a reason that it's always the Republicans trying to suppress the vote. So I got to think that's a good sign for us. No matter what the numbers say, the more people come out, the more it favors our candidates. And Rob, I saw what you just saw there. That was wild. Those 3 polls.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. Like
Plus 2 Harrison, plus 6 Graham, plus 1 Harrison.
Yeah.
Man,
I definitely have donated a ton of money to Lindsey Graham's opponent, and Act Blue in general. But yeah, he's getting killed, and he deserves to be getting killed. I doubt that Lindsey Graham loses, all things considered. But that's an interesting poll. I'm watching very closely that one.
Here's hoping.
yeah.
It'll be real awesome. Get him out.
I mean,
just because
out of the Senate, it's Mitch is top of my list, and then Lindsey, I think, and yeah, God, I hate Susan Collins. I hate a fraud, bro. She tried to act so fair and balanced.
She's on her way
just
out.
Fox News as fuck. Yeah, I want them all gone. I don't know. I don't dislike any of them. I don't ever want to see a Republican judge get elected ever again or selected or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm done with it. I've had my fair share in these last 4 years.
Well, here's hoping. How about if Trump wins and he decides to pack the court?
What'd you say?
How Trump wins and he decides to pack the court?
What, like a re-election?
Yeah.
I mean, if he wins, I don't know, bro. Like, we're just fucked. We're fucked for a long time. It's even if we win again in 2024, it's going to take probably the rest of my life to undo some of the things he's going to do. So we'll just have to see where we're at and what we can fight against. Maybe we'll win the Senate, but he gets reelected. That could happen.
Yeah.
In which case, I don't think there's any judges then, because he's got to pick them in order for them to not, or he's got to nominate them in order for them to be considered. Yeah. So they're just not going to consider any of his judges. So I don't know. There's so many variables, bro, and we could go through all of them, but it's at the end of the day, it's kind of like wait and see how it turns out.
I think that the biggest thing to watch, regardless of what happens in the election, is how the federal bureaucracy responds. If Donald Trump is on his way out and is trying to destroy everything he can, trying to burn it down, a part of me thinks that like the government is going to be like, look, I have to go talk to Joe Biden's people. He's coming in. I got to help him take over this job that I'm doing now. I don't have time for this. Maybe somebody else can join you in your, meeting to plan how we're going to burn the country to the ground because they voted against you.
There's no way that Donald Trump or his administration is going to help the Joe Biden administration coming in like Obama did for Trump. There's no way.
But they don't need to. I mean, they've already been through that process before. Joe Biden knows what he has to do, even if they don't help him.
In some cases, yes. In some cases, maybe not so much. But either way, it's just going to be the dick move, and they're going to do it.
Yeah, but those are the political appointees. Those are not the bureaucrats that work inside the federal government who have a job regardless of who the president is.
Yeah.
But back to what you were saying, it all depends on how it goes down. If it's close, it's going to get ugly. If it's a landslide, it's going to get ugly too. But I think the American people will look at it and say, well, we're not going to get caught up in Donald Trump tweeting crazy things. I have to go to work, but also he's not the president. Who cares? Like, the people have rejected his crazy talk completely.
Well, that wraps up the polling.
Are you guys ready for some fun with taxes? Can you see how excited I am for this?
Oh, you look real excited.
All right. Yeah. Well, at least this affects Eddie too. So the Fair Tax Act is at play. I got some info on it, and then I don't know, we can get into what we think about it. Rob, you can throw in your 2 cents after I teach you about it, but it's not going to really affect you, I don't think. I don't know how that would spill off. Well, you might get some more wealth buying into Indiana. Yeah. You might fuck around and get gentrified, bro. In one of your neighborhoods.
Hey, they're already starting.
by
They're
some
very
tax
house
dodging.
friend. These people are buying these houses. These people are buying these houses that are structurally sound. I mean, they got to be renovated, of course, but they're basically structurally sound. They got to come and do, you know, usual renovations. You know, they got new kitchens, you know, new bathrooms, whatever. You know, paint, this and that. And then there's these houses, and they're trying to rent these houses out for $1,200 a month in the middle of Gary, and it's like, who are you appealing to?
Oh
Like,
my
who are you
god.
appealing to?
No one
Because there's not.
today. But
It's
wait for a year or
yeah,
two.
and
I wouldn't even pay that much in Chicago for rent.
and I mean, these houses are big. I mean, these are old houses, you know, that have been renovated. So you're talking about, you know, 3, 4, 5 bedrooms, you know, maybe 2 baths. But like I said, they're old houses, so there was never a second bath added in most houses. But they're big houses, you know, multi-level, you know, shit like that. Full, you know, full basement. Usually not finished, but a full basement. And they want a lot of money, which would be cool if it was in a good area. But it's as much as I love it, let's be honest, it's not a good area.
No, it's third world as fuck.
So
But that I
it's
think that's a sign of things to come, though. It actually wouldn't be a bad time to buy some houses
Eddie,
out there in
we have
those
our
neighborhoods and
artists,
sit out.
Eddie, we have artists here at Villain Radio and Hawk Life. His name's Jay Ortiz. Young kid, he's like 23. Um, and I take him through Gary one time, right? I was like, "We're here at the studio. I'm gonna shoot a video for him, and we had some time to waste." I was like, "Well, hop in my car. I gotta go. You know, gotta go see somebody." And I take him the long way, and I take him down Broadway in Gary, and we're driving around. He's never been there, and ever, and he's looking around, and he's like, makes me feel like I'm in Mexico. And I was like, "You're exactly right," because and just how
That's exactly what it's
dilapidated
like.
it is, and, you know, and how old everything looks and how the buildings are crumbled and shit, but there's still businesses in like this crumbled building and shit like that. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
want to get back to this fair tax stuff, but I was watching 90 Day Fiance, and this guy moved to Mexico, and he's like, oh, let's get some food, and then he sat down, and then he's like, what kind of food do they serve here? And he's like, well, Mexican food. He's like, do they serve anything else other than Mexican food here? And it's like, why would they serve anything other than Mexican food in Mexico when you move there, you idiot? It was really funny, but so I think the first thing to talk about with the fair tax is to not listen to these commercials saying we don't trust Springfield politicians to make decisions with our money. First of all, that's what politicians do, period. But also, it's a coded reference to liberals say to conservatives to call them Springfield politicians because Springfield is the capital. It's not Chicago, but it's still the big city. So they're appealing to people in conservative areas while trying to put a veneer of liberal hostility towards Springfield because Springfield was a Bruce Rauner town for a few years. It's completely ridiculous. Don't buy into it. If you're making less than $250,000 or $500,000, vote for the fair tax. What's his name? Jay Pritzker himself said that he would have paid $3 million more in taxes if the fair tax had been enacted, and he is willing to pay taxes. But rich people are not going to pay. They're not going to volunteer to pay extra taxes. Just like I'm not going to volunteer to pay extra taxes.
Well,
Yeah,
actually, it's funny because Pritzker did actually do just that. He paid $56.3 million on what he calls a fair tax for money that he felt like he should have paid but didn't pay. I don't know how he came up with that number, but he kicked it in to the system. So I thought that was cool of him. I guess it's easy to, do when you're a billionaire, but
yeah.
I thought that was dope. I mean, I don't see Trump kicking in no 50 million nowhere, and he's a billionaire, right? But May
kicking
19th.
$100, kicking more than $1,000, and then we'll talk.
Yeah. So May 19, 2019, the Illinois General Assembly motioned up the Fair Tax Act to be put on a ballot. It's a graduated tax rate income tax. It proposes new rates and a new bracket structure. So the enacted tax rates are the starting point. And that's what Eddie was kind of just speaking to, was that these rates can move at the politics' discretion. But if you don't trust your politicians, then you need to vote them out and put in new politicians. Is, I think, always the answer. I always like the situations where I can control things with a vote. But anyways, let's stay on track here. So it could rise in the future. But 32 states utilize
so
this track.
let's talk about this real quick too. If you make 400,000 and your tax rate,
I'm getting to that in a second.
Okay.
We're going to get into all the numbers. Trust me, I got them.
Okay.
So 32 states use this tax, the graduated tax system. 9 states currently use the flat tax that we have currently. So it's trending in the other direction. The money Eddie was just talking about. The first 10,000 of your income, no matter what, if you're a single or joint filer, is 4.7%. That's what you get taxed on there. If you guys have anything you want to add, just stop me. Otherwise, I'm just going to shoot through these numbers because there's kind of a lot.
Yeah, I'm not going to have anything to add because I don't live there.
10,000 to 100,000. If you're a single filer, 4.9%. 100,000 to 250,000, again, single filer, 4.95%. 250,000 to 350,000. Here's the big jump, 7.75%. 350,000 to 750,000 is 7.85%. And that's, I think, the highest you're going to pay. Joint filers, 250 to 500,000, 7.75, and 500,000 to a million is 7.85. Single filers over 750,000 pay 7.99. Sorry, that's the highest. Joint filers over a million also pay 7.99. Do you guys, anything you guys want to point out there? You feel the need is worth emphasizing?
Yeah, I think you talked a little bit, but just so people are aware, okay, if you make 100, let's say we're doing a fair tax, right? Graduated income tax, and we're not even going to use this example, but if your tax rate is 100, that if the threshold is at 100,000 and you make 105, right? And because you're at the 34% versus the 28% level, you're not paying that higher interest rate on your whole salary. You're paying the interest on the salary that gets you above that rate. So you're only paying that higher tax on 5% of your income, not the whole 105% of the income.
Yeah.
So actually, yes, it's a raise in tax, but it's a margin. The reason why it's called a marginal rate tax, because it's a marginal increase in the tax rate of your that you're paying. So you might think it's unfair, and that's your political opinion. And if you disagree with it, you can vote for somebody who doesn't. But you should understand that you're not being taxed at a 32% or a 50% rate for 400,000 or $250,000 or whatever, however much money you make. It's being incrementally increased as a function of additional monies at a additional threshold. So if you go from 100 to 200, then you might go into the bracket that's from 150 to 250, in which case you'll pay a lower rate for most of your money. And then once you're at 150, you pay the higher tax rate. But for the most part, getting a promotion or getting a raise, putting you into a higher tax bracket is never a bad thing.
Yeah.
And you have to consider that. You're not going to turn a promotion down just because you think you're going to be charged an extra 32% when you're not.
And here's the kicker, too, on top of all of that, is that 97% of Illinois makes under 250 grand a year. So your taxes are going to go down. There's 3% of this, 3% of this state will be taxed a bit higher. But there's some other things in the bill, too, that are worth touching on. Property taxes will go up 1%. From 5 to 6. You'll get a per child tax credit up to $100 if you make less than 80 grand, and joint filers making 100 grand. So that's up to $100 per kid just on a credit. The corporate tax rate goes from 7 to 7.99. And why you might want to do this? Well, our current tax system is inadequate. We're losing money. Basically, we're building a deficit here. We're spending more than we're making. So that's got to be accounted for. there's a conversation there to be had as far as how our tax dollars get spent. I don't think any Illinoisan is happy with how Chicago spends all their money, but still, bringing in more money is never a bad thing.
Yeah, and to be fair to the people from Chicago who also agree with that, we are the economic driver of the state. Most of the money that comes from the state budget comes from Chicago.
Absolutely. And
So,
Illinois is one of the 10 states that pays more in the federal taxes than it takes back. So we're the backbone of the whole country.
and if you think about it, we can even in the spirit of the current political system, the anti-immigrant political system, 26th Street in Chicago in Little Village is the second or third most profitable real estate market by square footage in America. They bring in more money per square footage than the Magnificent Mile. It's ridiculous.
Dude, 18th Street in Pilsen is popping.
Yeah.
Popping.
Yeah, I can't afford to move in over there because it's too popping. But
I love it over there, bro. But it's definitely changed.
Little Village is moving in that direction too.
Yeah.
But
so like we said, Pritzker kicked in $56 million of his own money. So I thought that was cool on his part. You know, something you wouldn't expect a lot of billionaires and millionaires to do, especially when they've gotten by on tax shit.
Yeah.
To pass, it needs 60. I wasn't quite sure on what they meant by this, so we can try to figure this out. But to pass, it needs 60% of those who vote on the issue, or a simple majority of total votes cast. Is what the article said. I don't quite. I get the first part, like 60% yes to pass, but is the simple majority, is that just for Democrats because we have a Democratic governor and that's what he wants to do? Is that what they mean there?
no, I think it means that there's two mechanisms. Either everyone who votes total that is 60%, or if you can leave it blank, right? Like we've mentioned before, you don't have to vote for everything, and don't vote for something you don't believe in. But let's say 50%, 51% of everyone, all the votes. Let's say 100 people vote and 51% say yes, then it passes automatically. If 40% vote and say yes, because it's lower than the threshold of 50% of the simple majority, then you have to go to the second instance of the 60% of those 40 vote for it. And if they did, then it passes.
Yeah. So I think the big takeaway is that if you make under 250 grand, your taxes are actually going to go down with this bill, because there is a lot of confusion. I got fake news. Like there's a lot of websites out there that are bought and paid for one side or the other. It's a big battle in Illinois.
Yeah, there's a whole New York Times article about. I think there's a network of like 1,300 newspapers, independent newspapers that are actually used as local newspapers that are used as vehicles for Republican, I wouldn't say propaganda, but the promotion of their position, their Republican positions, in the guise of news and locally owned issues. It's actually really smart. I mean, if you have the money to do it, why not? But yeah, there's definitely ways in which you can amplify your message by using fake newspapers and things like that.
Yeah. So that's all I got on that. I mean, that's the long and short of it. I guess if anybody has any additional questions, just catch me on Facebook. I'll try to answer them. I'm not going to write all this stuff anywhere for you to look up, because fuck off. I mean, I got most of it from a Chicago Tribune article anyway, so if you want to Google it and read for yourself, you can. But that's what I gave you is the guts of it.
There's also a guide. I sent it to Rob earlier. Maybe he can drop the link in, because I don't have the ability to do so. But there's an article from a group called Injustice Watch. They basically work in justice reform and things like that. So this is a guide for judges, specifically the judges that are on the ballot in Cook County, and they're rated for their backgrounds, basically. So if somebody is a former prosecutor, for example, then they have a little sticker on that. If they're a former public defender, they have a sign on there. If they have had a previous controversy, for example, Mauricio Araujo, he resigned because there was clear and convincing evidence before the Illinois Court Commission that he was engaged in a pattern of inappropriate and harassing behavior toward women. He was put on administrative duty for allegedly calling a female prosecutor a bitch and insinuating that he may have had sex with her. Anyway, so if you want to vote for this guy, you can vote for whoever you want, but you should be aware that, just like politicians, judges are elected officials, and if they have things in their background that you don't agree with or disagree with, or even if you want to know more about them, check it out. It's called Injustice Watch. Check Your Judges. There's a whole ballot thing that you can print out to take with you into the ballot box as well if you want to. I use it for every election, not just presidential elections, and it's really good and it's really informative. If you scroll down a little bit, there's a little section, like a little info section right there. Click the info button, and you can very quickly scroll through and you see who are, for example, the former public defenders. I voted for all of them, and I voted against everyone who was a former correctional officer. If you have other decisions or ideas, go for it. But it does help boil the judge's race down in a succinct way for me. And, I don't know of any other websites that are better than this for investigating judges. So I highly encourage everyone to check that out if that's an issue that you care about.
Well, that's a very informative tool. Thank you.
Yeah, big facts. That's all good shit, man.
You want to get into your this is about the time I think that we get into Rich's rant. I'm gonna give you a little music. I want to get a little music, maybe a little theme song to you for you.
You got something, or you're gonna work on
I don't
something?
got nothing now, but I mean,
All
I
right.
don't got much. We got the generic stuff.
That's not, man. Yeah.
Rich's rant.
Oh man. So
Rant.
I'm sure this is something we're all gonna want to have a piece of, but first I want to do a little bit of reading from. This is the WhiteHouse.gov. The proclamation on National Character Counts Week. And by the way, it says proclamation on National Character Counts Week. So White House does not have. Bro, can I show it?
Hit
Oh,
send.
you can't see it. Can you see it? Where?
Oh my god!
Like, yeah, good job, White House.
Y'all know on Windows it's got a little squiggly thing when you mess up and make a typo or bad grammar. Like, did they turn that off? Those squiggly red line.
I mean, it deserves that level of attention. To be honest, this is just such a load of shit. But we're gonna get that. But let me read an excerpt from this. I'm not gonna read the whole thing because there is some good stuff about whatever people in the community. But here's some good stuff.
Are you talking
So
about, let me see. I could
you gotta pull it up so we can read along.
what I think it should be it.
Yeah, no, you just Google it. Yep. All right, so here we go. This is unreal. The foundation of any free and virtuous society is the moral character of its people. Personal responsibility, integrity, and the other values which define our unique American spirit underpin our system of self-government and inspire us to continue working toward a more perfect union. As we observe National Character Counts Week, which is this week, by the way, right now is National Character Week, we think of the special individuals in our lives who exemplify the character qualities to which we all aspire. In looking to these examples of honor and virtue, we recognize that character is a learned attribute acquired through consistent, purposeful action and not an inherent trait. We must resolve to build lives and communities grounded in moral clarity in order to strengthen ourselves, our families, our communities, and our nation. Okay, so then there's a few long paragraphs about this and that. Let's just fast forward to the end. Every opportunity to show consideration for another person is also an opportunity to build habits of kindness and strengthen our character. Our words and deeds leave imprints in our homes, schools, communities, and places of worship. Throughout this week, we recommit to being more kind, loving, understanding, and virtuous. Together, as one national family, we must serve others with giving and grateful hearts to ensure our republic remains strong, vibrant, and a beacon of hope for future generations. Now, therefore, I, Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Constitution and the laws of the United States, do hereby proclaim October 18th through October 24th, 2020 as National Character Counts Week. I call upon public officials, educators, parents, students, and all Americans to observe this week with appropriate ceremonies, activities, and programs. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand this 16th day of October in the year of our Lord 2020, and of the independence of the United States of America, the 245th. Donald J. Trump. What a fucking joke. This dude couldn't count character if it was singles in a fucking titty bar. Are you fucking kidding me, dude? Are you fucking kidding me right now? Like, how dumb do you take us for? How really? Dude, I mean, guys, do you want to get into the laundry list? Like, what has he done this week? What did we lead off with? He stormed out of an interview. He's been rampaging against the media. The shit with Gretchen Whitmer. Like,
Rudy
he's been
Giuliani
talking
could've
shit
hanged out
about
his
her.
pants.
What's up?
Rudy Giuliani literally has his hands down his pants in a hotel room.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, these are the kind of people he keeps around him, bro. Like scumbags and fall guys, because birds of a feather.
Yeah.
Dude, he's cheated on his wife. Like, he's thrown his friends to the fucking wolves.
He's broke.
He's lied more times than any human could count, except for fucking Daniel Dale. God bless that man's soul. What the fuck? Character counts week?
And
Yeah, we need a meme right now. Where's that the black dude in the barbershop? You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. It's just ridiculous.
Just got this dumb guy. That's it. Got this dumb guy.
It's equally offensive and hilarious at the same time because it's just so absurd. Like, this dude is the has the least amount of character of any man, and he clearly did not write that shit. By the way, he is not capable of writing that. No chance in hell. That was drafted for him. I don't know, guys. That's just awful. That's lowbrow shit. Like, don't spit on my cupcake and call it frosting, bro. Just
imagine the letter writer when he's like dictating to them what he wants the letter to say and what they're really fucking putting.
Yeah, we'll just put it. Yeah, just tell us what you want to say. We'll clean it up for you, boss.
Yeah, he's a fucking character. That's it.
I mean, he insulted Gold Star families. You know, reportedly the losers and suckers. The handicap reporter. You know, Mexicans are murderers and rapists. You know, the big brown scare with the caravans.
I've known Eddie.
The blacks. What have you got to lose?
Yeah.
It goes on and on, bro.
Hey, did you see that picture of Herman Cain like crowd surfing?
No, I saw the article of him dying.
Yeah, like at a rally. I think it was
he's dead, and he's still tweeting.
Yeah, he's dead.
He is.
His tweets are more coherent and easier to read than Donald Trump's are.
Like whose
From the
job? Like
grave,
who's
bro.
really still doing that job? Like you're a sick person. The man's dead. Donald Trump killed him.
You know, the man's just
He held the
shat all
rally.
over our election, bro.
He
He's
didn't make mass
divided
marriage.
the country.
Why
Char-
didn't Trump's complicit in Herman Cain's death?
character counts weak.
Character counts. His character don't count for shit.
Character is so out the window right now. Man. If character counts,
Right.
Joe Biden's walking away with this election. It's
This
not
is why
even
Devils
close.
and Donald Trump's our president, and I don't know what else is going on in the world. That's
man. I mean, we can just dwell on that a little longer if you want. I really don't have anything to add to
You
it.
know, the best part about watching you read that was how little you believed anything you were saying while you were saying it. Like, I could tell you wanted to start cracking up after the first sentence.
that's
It's
why I
just so
started laughing
absurd.
at it.
The idea is so absurd. It's absurd. It's insulting. It's amazing,
sad.
bro. The way you've treated COVID, bro. You threw a section of this population in the wind to salvage the economy, and you fucked that up. Even are you fucking kidding me? What a joke!
I
What
can't
a
wait till we get a
fucking
new
joke!
president so we could criticize him too.
That's just like you want to talk about the black man platinum plan while we're at it.
Oh,
what the fuck? Shit.
The plan is for them to give more money to Donald Trump. That's the only real plan. That's the only plan that has ever existed. That's the only plan that will ever exist.
Especially since
it may be the plan to keep him out of the prison too. That might be a plan.
What is that plan? Flee the country? Does he go to? Does he go to
stay in office? You can't indict a sitting president. Apparently,
visit to China or somewhere where there's no extradition treaty, and he's just gonna stay there.
He's already talking about a third term, bro. That man's gonna try to die in office. He's gonna try to.
He's gonna lose, and then he's gonna fucking. Here comes everything. Oh my god.
The third act.
What happens if he goes to jail? Solitary confinement with Secret Service outside the door? Or if you get
at some point when you become a felon, I guess you probably just lose all your standing as president.
I mean, that's an interesting question because we've never had a president be indicted and actually locked up. Like, Secret Service, as far as I am aware, would still have the obligation to protect him even in prison, would they not? Or would they hand that responsibility over to the Bureau of Prisons
until they die?
Yeah, I gotta assume if you get convicted of a felony and go to prison that you lose your presidential privileges. I'm not sure on that, but that's what I kind of want to believe is true.
Can you imagine the person who has to be Donald Trump's cellmate, worried that he's gonna like grab them by the pussy or
they're not gonna give
or
him
cough all over them like?
He's in solitary room.
Yeah, he's in solitary, bro. He's in fucking. What's the segment where they keep all the snitches? What do they call that? Where it's extra secure? I forget.
Yeah. Well, there's an interesting article I read a long time ago, but it was about this kid, 19-year-old kid, whose job it was to guard Saddam Hussein after his capture in 2007 or whatever it was. And it's interesting to hear him talk or to write and read this about him, because he talks about how, some days he'd be like, Saddam would be really like beat down and dejected and like didn't want to eat. And other days he'd be running around talking about like all of his great accomplishments and how he's still the president because he was disposed illegally and all this stuff. And it like, I think about it from time to time when people talk about like, well, what happens if Trump goes to prison and he's just in prison, like renting crazy things to himself. And it's interesting because it's not unheard of in international politics. For American politics, sure, but we know what happens to the minds of a former president or a prime minister or something like that when they get indicted and put into prison. It's not good.
And it's like we were talking about this, like Trump's presidential library. Like, what's that going to consist of?
It's gonna be a bunch of Play-Doh.
Yeah.
Choose your own adventure books.
Picture books.
Where's it gonna be? Like, what the fuck? Like, Does he still get one if he goes to jail afterwards? Like, how is all this?
Probably
work?
not. Isaiah, who's even going to push that agenda to even get that bill?
But
Like, who's going to take it apart?
President has one.
Yeah, but I mean, bro, if that's my job, I'm taking that year off.
Like,
We'll get back to the next president.
Please.
We'll get back to building the Biden joint. Start fucking doing the blueprints for that.
Because it's realistic to say the next president is going to die in office at some point. That could be said.
I mean, it's a possibility.
I'm more excited to see Kamala Harris become a president. Fuck Donald Trump. What up, Will Brown? I'm much more excited to see Kamala Harris become VP and the presumptive president in 2024. And we could have Kamala running shit for 12 years. I'm sure there are plenty of people on the left that would hate to see it. I'd be okay with it.
I don't hate Kamala. I've warmed up to Kamala considerably since she got selected.
Yeah,
the whole California thing, the whole being a prosecutor thing in general is not. I could never be a prosecutor. Like what I had court one time, Cook County, and they called me for jury duty, and there was this guy who was in there for murder, right? Murder one, and they had like 7 witnesses on him, like video camera footage, all this stuff, right? And I didn't know what to do because I was like, I don't want to vote to convict this guy, but also he's definitely guilty. Like, lock him up. Lock him up.
Go to jail, bro. Go to jail, bro.
Anyway, it's interesting here because what I ended up doing was telling the judge that I don't trust the Chicago Police Department to be impartial and that they lie to juries and they hide evidence. And I just didn't trust the evidence. I couldn't be fair to this guy. So, and the part of me was worried that because I had said that, the guy who's on charge in facing the murder one charge would want me to be on the jury. But I got away from it in that sense. But it's interesting because you don't want to be the person locking somebody up, but there are definitely people who deserve to be locked up. And I know I could never do that job as a prosecutor. I'm not gonna go to jail, bro. You go to jail, bro. Quarantine. I'm good.
Emil Brown.
5%.
It's just the same.
Emil Brown and I do
you go to jail.
Called the Danger Zone, and we have a saying: "Go to jail." But people are like, yo, if you do some fucked up shit and you get caught, go to jail, bro. Like, it is what it is. Like,
dude,
your fault.
I got a letter for jury duty, which was hilarious with my record. Like, you guys didn't even look at my shit at all before. I wrote on there, I said, will not be impartial due to my pre-existing biases. I sent that back to him. Like, you want to call me, bro? I'm coming in there. I'm fucking up everything. And I'm telling you in advance. Don't even waste my time.
What about the fact that Exxon had to put out a tweet saying that fucking
Oh yeah, because Trump said he was just gonna fucking basically buy his support.
Yeah.
I mean, he needs to do that, bro, because they're getting killed in the money. They're getting killed. Biden is outraising them 3-1 right now.
Bro.
Well, because they blew all their money. Brad Pascal stole it all, and Donald Trump stole the other half of it.
They made a bunch of money off fly swatters because of this.
I feel like, dude, they've raised way too much money to have so little right now. I believe they've been jagging down all kinds of shit. I agree with you there. I know that they've been spending some of it on Trump's lawyer fees. That came out. I don't know what else they've been spending it on, but I feel like there should be a lot more than there is. To the point where they can't even advertise in Arizona, bro, or Michigan. They're dead. They're blacked out in those states right now. It's crazy.
It's getting back to nobody cares. Like, they just want this shit over. They want to get back to some kind of normalcy where the fucking president's not acting like a child every fucking day.
Yeah, but Trump's campaign's still trying to win, and they're not even.
Wait, growing up,
Bill Saperstein's being paid like $250,000 to run the Trump campaign a month. The average campaign, probably 5 to 7 a month. That's average for a campaign manager. It's crazy. It's complete craziness over there. I got to get out of here. Finish up some work. We'll talk some more. We'll wrap some more. Definitely, everyone, check out the judges. Judges are a very huge thing. If not in Illinois, in Indiana, Wisconsin, wherever you may be. Hopefully you're not tuning in from Russia, trying to get any more deep intel on us, because I don't have anything for you guys. But everybody be safe, and we'll talk soon next week.
All right, bro.
Peace out.
Thanks.
Peace.
Yeah, it's this motherfucker. You're God. Fuck him.
You got there's just so much fury and rage. It's just all tongue twisted.
Fuck him. Fuck him. That's about it.
Yeah, I don't got nothing else to add to that. I'm hungry, bro. I'm ready to go eat these ribs.
It's
Maybe I'll be back in studio next week. Maybe. Fucking COVID head. Get your shit together.
hey, I should find out hopefully by the end of the night. But
Well, if you find out you're positive, that doesn't help me.
Oh yeah.
Hey, you know what though? You still want to do the post debate dig Thursday?
What time is it on tomorrow?
Okay, I keep fucking feeling like it's later in the week.
We'll talk about it after we end.
Cover starts at 6, dude. It's probably like 7 to 9 again.
Yeah,
7,
we'll talk about
8:30.
it after we end the podcast on a couple.
Okay.
Yeah, but next week, shit, who knows what next week
Yeah.
We'll probably
Like
recap
what-
over the debates a little bit more, and we'll fill you in on whatever happened throughout this week and catch up on the polls. Probably get into some more voter shit.
More voter shit, bro.
Yep.
We're running down here. 13 days.
Ooh, it's getting real close.
Yeah.
And then we will be going live on election night from Villain Radio Studios.
Thanks,
Right.
Ski.
Yeah. So we'll see you guys next week. I'm Rob Villain.
Like, share, subscribe, all that. We need it.
Yep. We'll see
Appreciate
guys later.
you.
Thanks for tuning in.